Okay, hi guys. As you can see, this is a very spur of the moment video. I wanted to just make this early this morning so that I can get this out this evening. So yesterday, we had the vote on the ceasefire. So it was the SNP motion that Hamza Youssef put forward to propose a ceasefire. This was a defining moment of our times, and our politicians don't seem to understand. So I'm just going to lay this out. Among them, let's get this exactly right, I believe that only 125 MPs across the spectrum supported a ceasefire. 125. Only 125 people are worthy of even calling themselves human beings at this point. Your money was more important to you. Your salary was more important to you. I am so angry. Last night I couldn't make this because I was so angry. And I thought I would say something that I would regret because I can't describe the anger and the disappointment that I am feeling. 125. And some of those will only have done it because their constituents have pushed them and said, we will not vote for you and you will lose your seat. But this was the moment. Do not let them forget. It doesn't matter what party you're from. Like for me, I believe that politics is you can't really take politics out of life. But on this instance, it is the very bare minimum a ceasefire, right? This is not radical. So many other places are calling for the ceasefire. Human rights groups are calling for the ceasefire, right? And more importantly, the Palestinian people are calling for that ceasefire because they are dying night after night after night. I have seen too many dead children. I saw a video of a baby, a traumatized, injured baby the other night, and I was almost physically sick. I can't go on with, what right have I even got to say that? But how are they? These are people with power, right? I can't get on with my life. I'm seeing these images and I want to actually be physically sick. I get physically sick from seeing it. And they're just going about their lives, right? Going about their lives as if it was just a normal vote. I watched, I don't know if it's called PMQs, the debate before it happened. I caught some of it. And it's pathetic. They are all pathetic. And I am sorry to even say this, but it was absolutely... They were sitting there making jokes. Right, I believe, is it Layla Moran? Let me have a look. There was a woman, there was an MP that stood up and shared... Let me check this. Let me just check I've got her name right. Yeah, Layla Moran. She shared in that room that she had found out that a family member of hers had died, right? Not of a bomb, but of, bad conditions, like starvation, and she shared that. She was asked to sit down like a little girl by that speaker and by everyone in the room, oh, don't get too emotional here. Oh, I don't think that's relevant to the vote. What do you mean humanity's not relevant to the vote? I'm fed up of every single one of them. And I even mean the ones that voted for the ceasefire at this point. Why were they not on their feet, yelling and screaming and holding up pictures of those kids and saying, this is what you're doing? There they were, laughing and jeering. And this poor woman, Layla Moran, right? Just to watch her demeanour. She went completely quiet, in pure sadness, in pure, disbelief. I watched that woman, to see that happen to somebody. I couldn't express how angry I felt that had been allowed to happen. So 125 of them, only 125, and the rest of them are tweeting some of them have the audacity to still be posting they supported a ceasefire, which they didn't. They didn't. People who abstained are oh, I support a ceasefire. No, you didn't, you coward. They don't seem to understand, so we need to make them understand. Do not vote for anybody who did not support a ceasefire. If ever you see them at events, ask them. You are their constituents. They work for us. Say to them, I am not going to vote for somebody who has the blood of children on their hands. Why do you think that your little MP salary, right, and your cushy deals, right, all that stuff, why do you think that's more important than the lives of Palestinian children? Why do you think they're collateral? Make sure you ask them that. We must make sure they never ever get away from this, because this is a turning point. The ceasefire was bare minimum. It was bare minimum. That was all it was asking for. And they couldn't even do that. They have blood on their filthy hands. They are just... I was filled with absolute disgust, with anger, with just... And they're tweeting today, like, oh, of course, it was a very, reasonable thing to do. We had to do the reasonable thing in politics. No. Don't let them reframe it. You voted for the continuing death and torture, it's torture, of little children. Right? Don't ever let them forget. Because I've seen images of babies that are terribly, terribly wounded. Babies who've been orphaned, who they don't even know what's going on yet, and all they know is terror and pain. And these children are shivering from trauma, and they are babies. They don't even... The first thing they will remember from their lives will be terror and extreme pain and not understanding. Do they get what they have done and what they've supported? We need to be like, do not let this go. Do not let them say that, oh, it's just politics, it was just a decision. No. Because you know who isn't going to get a second chance? Those people in Palestine. I believe every 10 minutes a child is being killed there. Killed. It's not just they die, right? It's not, no, they are being killed. Whether they're being bombed, whether they die of their injuries, whether they're being starved, whether they get sick, it is killing. That is what is happening. They are being terrorised and they are being killed. And those people are calling out for a ceasefire at the bare minimum. And we can't even do that. These people do not deserve a moment's peace in their political lives. They can never be allowed to live this down. Because let me just tell you this. If they can do that to another, if they can do that to a Palestinian child, and let me tell you, they know, they've seen these images. They've chosen their careers, they've chosen their money. They think, oh, I'm just going to make my way up to the top. If they can do it to them, they can do it to you. No one is free until we're all free. That's not just a slogan. If they can do that to a demonised group, if they can justify that happening to them, they can justify that happening to you. And they won't lose a night's sleep over it. And these are children. If you're watching this, you're probably an adult, right? If they can do that to children, innocent children, what do you think they will let happen to you as an adult person? They disgust me. They absolutely disgust me. We can't let them live this down. This has got to be with them always. This is going to have to follow them. Every single one that voted either against a ceasefire or abstained, they are cowards with blood on their hands. Do not let them live this down. They think that they can do whatever they want and play politics and laugh and joke while people are dying. Well, you're not going to keep your seats, and you're not going to know a moment of peace in your political lives. You work for us. You work for us, and we marched as a people for a ceasefire. A ceasefire is not even... It's so basic that it's not even committing to any sort of taking a side, right? It's so basic at its level. It's literally, let's stop killing people. Let's stop the people being killed. And they won't even do that. Keir Starmer has said that weasel isn't even enough for him. So he's tried to whip the party to say, any of my front benchers that vote for a ceasefire, you're going to get the sack, right? You're not on my front bench anymore. And we're just going along with that, are we? This man is a danger. This man is just as dangerous as any Tory. Just as dangerous. Right? He's even his own front bench. Don't vote for stopping killing children or you will lose your job. Now, I believe 11 of those front benchers have gone against him. Thank God, right? And you know what? I don't even care why they've done it. Some of them have done it for self-serving reasons. Some of them have done it for good. At this point, I don't even care. The political landscape is so corrupt and evil. Good for them. Like, honestly, I don't care. If you're a Tory, right, you know how I feel about, like, conservatism, and you voted for a ceasefire, good for you. You have my respect as a human being. This goes beyond anything else. This is the bare minimum for human lives. They have blood on their hands. Do not ever let them forget. And they're now trying to make themselves the victims. I've seen one MP from Labour, someone made a tweet saying that people should say or shout shame on you whenever you're there, right? People need to say this. And she reported them to the police. Oh, it's unpleasant, isn't it? It's unpleasant, isn't it? People saying shame on you, like getting in the way of when, oh, I don't really want people to be saying shame on you and holding me to account, even though that's my job and that's what I'm paid a lot for. They would report that to the police. That discomfort they can't stand, and yet they put children through operations and trauma and pain, and the worst part isn't even the trauma and the pain. It is realizing that nobody's coming to help you. Realizing that people are sitting in their houses safely and being, oh, let's be rational human beings here. No, there's nothing rational about the death of children. Children are never collateral damage. These people are monsters. They are more monstrous, and I truly, truly believe this. I think they are more monstrous than Hamas and more monstrous than the IDF. Because they don't have any skin in the game even. They are just sitting there. All they're being asked to do is stop the killing, or say, it might not even have an effect. Just to say, yes, let's have a ceasefire, let's stop the killing. They can't even do that. There is something so evil about that, because it doesn't even affect them. It doesn't even affect them, but they can't do it. I saw from West Streeting this morning. I have to get this on the screen. I could not believe the audacity of it, right? So he posted that there was an Islamophobic tweet or something, and it basically said, that I won't put it on here, but we should remind the people in his seat that their MP is gay. That should help him lose his seat. And he tweets, my constituents are better than this. They know what prejudice looks and feels like. So do I, which is why I've stood proudly against Islamophobia as Ilford North's MP. And the comments are full of these fools, right, who only understand. Also, let me just say, the person who made that tweet is literally a gay Muslim anyway. But, all that aside, this is the petty power grabbers and the power games they play. It's all about power. It's not about accountability. These replies are like, oh, that's seriously grim. Well done for such a classy reply. And, oh, that was so horrific to read. I'm so, so sorry. Oh, it's awful. I'm so sorry that you have to put up with that, says another MP. Oh, what disgusting prejudice. I'm so sorry you've experienced this disgusting homophobia, Wes. I'm sorry, Wes. This kind of abuse is unacceptable. Do you understand there are children it's torture. The children are trapped under the rubble, in pain, in fear. Their families are dead. No one is coming to help them. They are going to die painful, terrifying deaths. Little, tiny children. And they're all like, oh, that's so unacceptable. Get a sense of perspective. Let me tell you this. If I had voted against a ceasefire, right, if I had voted for those innocent children to continue to be slaughtered while Israel breaks international law and tries to ethnically cleanse those people in what many people are referring to as a genocide, my main concern would not be trying to name and shame somebody who's also from my community, basically being a bit homophobic or implying that homophobia can be used against you. Get a sense of perspective. They don't understand, when they say they don't understand content, only tone, that just, well done on your classy reply, where it's like, oh, I'm so sorry you've had to go through that. Oh, did it hurt a little bit? Grow up. Look, I'm gay. I'm gay myself, right? And I'm just being out there with that. If I had voted for a genocide and someone had tweeted me that, I think I wouldn't have voted for the genocide anyway, but I think I'd have bigger priorities, thinking, how did I become this moral vacuum of a person, right? And they're scrambling because they're like, oh, this Islamophobia won't stand. I stand with Muslims. No, you don't. No, you don't stand with Muslims, because those are children that are being killed. Not all Muslim children, but because we see them as other here, right? We are able to make, Hamas is ISIS, Islamic terror. They are going to become just like that. They did it with Shamima Begum, right? This fear around Muslim individuals, they're collateral. The Middle East is always at war. It's just collateral. It's not like in Ukraine where we value all the lives. That's just how it is there. And I'm afraid reasonable politicians, there's nothing we can do and we won't vote for a ceasefire. There is nothing reasonable about that. It's evil. It's evil. It is there's nothing more I can say where I won't get in trouble. But just know what I'm feeling right now. These people do not know the half. They couldn't bear even a tenth of what the people in Palestine are enduring. And they're congratulating each other over what? Being baby killers, right? Supporting baby killers. May you never live this down. May your hands always have this blood on them, and may you be the relation that in your family for generations to come, nobody ever wants to talk about. Everyone sidesteps it. Everyone's awkward around it. Everyone has to make excuses like, oh God, he was pretty awful. I know it was a different time, but wow, how terrible. We don't want to talk about that. That's who you are. This was not just a political decision. This was human lives on the line. That's what this was. No matter what political party you were in, that's what this was. And if you failed that basic test of morality, then what are you? Are you a human being? What even are you at this point? And what is the point? Is that what you got into politics for? Is that why you went into it? And they went into it because they want some money and a bit of power, and they're little bullies, right? They're those personalities. And you can see that by the way they are reporting people to the police for things like saying shame on you. Because that's what they want. They want a power kick. It's all about that to them. That's not about their constituents. No thought for the fact that maybe people are in such pain and anger, right, about what you have done as a human being, that people are angry with you. Oh, no, not in Keir Starmer's Labour Party. Oh, no. I feel sick. I feel actually sick. I don't know how else to say it. I feel ill. I feel so angry and sick. Right. There's going to be more marches this weekend, and we are going to keep doing it. We are going to keep marching until something changes, until we back the ceasefire. We're going to keep doing it. It doesn't matter if it's inconvenient. We're going to keep doing it. If you can get to a march, go to a march. Tell your MP what you think of them. My MP, whose father is an imam, voted against the ceasefire. And he's supposed to be some envoy about diplomacy between religions. What a shameful man. What a shameful person. What shame he must bring. Let them know. Let them know what you think. They work for us. And hopefully they won't work for us for very much longer. Right? They don't deserve our votes. They deserve less. Right? They deserve to fade into obscurity and to forever be haunted by this, right? To forever be, oh wait, is that the guy that voted pro-genocide? Is that, oh my God, that's him. Why did you do that? That is what their lives are going to be. This isn't going to be another Iraq, weapons of mass destruction, where they get on with their lives, right? And they just carry on and they get really good appointments. We have to make it so they won't win their seats, right? They fade out. Do we want these monsters in charge of us? Because if they can do it to the Palestinians, they can do it to you. They can do it to any of us. If you can do that to an innocent child, and you can't even back a ceasefire, what can they do to you, who they'll view as an adult enemy? And we've seen it. They've tried to report people to the police. They're little fascists. Go to your protests, write to your MPs, do whatever you can. Do not stop talking about what is happening in Gaza. Don't stop talking about it. I'm not saying don't enjoy life, although I'm struggling to, I can't detach from this. I can't stop thinking about it. But leave space for Gaza. Please, if you've got a social media platform, I'm not saying don't do the things you enjoy, but leave space for Gaza. Make sure you bring it up. Make sure it remains at the forefront of people's minds. Share information if you can. Go to protests. Right, we've got to do what we can. Thank you for watching. Love you, and I'll see you really soon. Bye.